How does God know our so-called human needs, healing, supply, and so forth? And the answer to that is, God does not know our human needs. That should be clear if you have read the Infinite Way books at all. That should be the principle most clear to you. That it is revealed in this message that God has no knowledge of our human needs. Can you not understand that if God knew our human needs, they would all be fulfilled? Do you think there would be anybody in China dying of starvation if God knew their human needs? Do you think there would be anybody behind the Iron Curtain in slavery if God knew their needs? Do you think for a moment that this 20% of America that the president says is in poverty, do you believe that they would be in poverty if God knew their needs? This is the fundamental principle of the entire message of the Infinite Way. And if you can't understand this, it's hopeless to try to understand anything else. God is not in the human scene. And it is for this reason that you can go to church and you can be religious and observe the holidays and the holy days and the feast days and the fast days, and you can die of starvation or cancer or consumption or an automobile accident. Because there is no God that cares whether you're religious or not religious, whether you're humanly good or humanly bad. God does not enter the human scene. Now, if you wish to get free of these human inequalities, if you wish to get free of human injustice, false appetites, lack, and limitation, this is up to you. Choose ye this day whom you will serve. And if you decide to know God aright, or if you obey the command of the Master, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink. Seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. Therefore, if you want to be free of sin, disease, death, lack, and limitation, seek ye the kingdom of God. It's as plain as that in the Master's teaching. And in the Old Testament, it is equally plain that those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High, none of these evils come nigh their dwelling place. Now, isn't that clear? That if these sins, diseases, deaths, lacks, and limitations are coming nigh your dwelling place, you are not living, you are not dwelling in the secret place of the Most High. And then again, if I may go back to the Master in the 15th chapter of John, if you abide, if you, nothing to do with God, if you abide in the Word, if you let me abide in you, you will bear fruit richly. But if not, you will be as a branch of a tree that is cut off and withers and dies. Now, the Master does not say that God enters this scene to prosper you. He says that you must seek the kingdom of God, and then these things are added unto you. Not before, after. No sign shall be given them, but these signs follow them. You might as well catch that point of the infinite way, or else you're going to walk around like the rest of the world is walking around, hoping that God will take pity on them. And God won't. Never has. When the Hebrews were in slavery to Pharaoh, they were in slavery until a Moses came along. When the Hebrews were in slavery to Caesar, they stayed in slavery until a Jesus came along. And when the Jews were in slavery to Hitler, nobody came along. And they died. And I have said, with relationship to these more recent events, with civil rights and what is called the Negro problem, the same thing. Don't you ever believe for a moment that anyone is going to give them freedom or equality or justice. It makes no difference whether they sit quietly by or whether they demonstrate. Nobody is going to give them anything. They are going to earn it from within their own consciousness. And then they will have it. And it will be theirs, and no one will take it from them, because they will receive it through God, through their conscious contact with God. We have had minorities ever since the beginning of the American nation. We have had the Irish Catholics come here and suffer tremendous persecution, and they have had to win their own way. No government sent out troops to get justice for them. They had to win their own way. We have had Hebrews persecuted from Maine to California, refused admission to universities, refused admissions to hotels, clubs, and no government was able to send out an army to give them their justice. They had to work out their own salvation through education, culture, refinement, and seeking some measure of the kingdom of God. And so it is. We are all equal. It isn't our race or religion or color that separates us. Not at all. We are all equal, but we have to demonstrate our equality. We have to prove our equality by our own worthiness, by our own efforts. And of course, the best effort we can make is to seek the kingdom of God, and then see if any man can take from you your liberty, your freedom, your justice, your equality, and you will discover what God hath joined together, no man can separate. And when you have joined yourself to God, you will discover that all that the Father hath is yours. But do not look to man whose breath is in his nostril for it, for you won't get it. And do not look to the God of the churches for it, because that God has not answered these appeals in the last 6,000 years. You must seek the kingdom of God, and then all of these things will be added unto you.